Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tips, and I've been awake for about 25 hours now. I feel like absolute crap. I am absolutely exhausted, but I could not go to sleep, guys. I simply could not go to sleep because something crazy just happened. Somebody sent us a imager link of a bunch of classic WoW screenshots, and I just took a look at them before I fired up my camera because I wanted to make sure they were legit. I wasn't sure if these were like private server footage, but it looks like they are legit, and they appear to be very real, and they reveal some very, very interesting things about classic WoW. I don't know if anybody else has gotten their hands on this just yet, but I'm sorry, I apologize in advance if someone did. This looks absolutely insane, and we're going to go through these pictures one by one, and I want to comment on them right now in front of you guys, tell you guys what I think about them. We're going to start off with these login screen pictures, and as you guys can see, we have the character selection screen for each of the classes, actually. Right here, I have a Night Elf Warrior. As you can see, very vanilla-esque. I mean, this is exactly what you would expect in vanilla. I don't want to spend too much time on these guys because I think I saw a photo of these already put up yesterday, or at least of some of these put up yesterday. So I think some of this is a little bit old news, but in case you guys missed it, yes, it looks like people have data mined the character selection screen or the character creation screen in Classic WoW. And once again, it looks very vanilla. The notable difference, as you guys have probably already noticed, is the World of Warcraft Classic logo on the top left-hand portion above the races. I think that's really cool, obviously a very nice touch. And the second noticeable difference is the shadows, I guess you could say. I know a lot of people pointed these out in the screenshots that were posted to the Classic WoW Reddit. Shout out, by the way. But yeah, as you can see, the lighting is a little bit different. This isn't exactly how the original patch 1.12.1 lighting looked like. And if I were to take a guess, that's probably a product of downporting the game from the modern client. The new lighting and shadows technology that's used in patch 7.3.5 is probably being used here. But don't worry, guys. I believe you can disable it. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit because these screenshots reveal a lot more. And of course, we have all of the other races as well. Orc, Undead, Tauren, etc. Nothing too special about these. We already pointed out the important stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. So the first screenshot that I have in front of me is the talents. And as you can see, it appears that this guy has opened up his talent tree and he is highlighting the Mortal Strike talent, and I believe that is to show that patch 1.12.1 talents are confirmed for this demo, and probably confirmed for Classic WoW. If you were one of the patch 1.1 talent guys, I'm sorry, you'll probably be disappointed here, but I think most people expected patch 1.12 talents. I think patch 1.1 talents would have been fun to experiment with for a little bit, but I think their gross imbalance and just their overall buggy and exploitative nature would have gotten old pretty fast. So I'm glad we're getting patch 1.12.1 talents. It's amazing to see that in game. I mean, it's just, guys, this is Classic WoW, dude. Classic WoW is here, dude. It's like 9 days away. It blows my mind. Something I forgot to mention real quick, guys, the user interface. I mean, look at all the icons on the bottom. Look what's there, or more importantly, what's not there. And the obvious ones are, number one, the LFG tool, clearly not there. I think a lot of us expected that. The PvP honor tab is not there as well. And most importantly, the cash shop icon is not there. There will not be a cash shop in Classic WoW as of now, and we'll get to more of that a little bit later too. But as of now, there is no cash shop icon in these screenshots, at least as far as I could tell. And he does take a lot more screenshots later on to kind of verify that. Moving on, we have a very interesting screenshot. The Talisman of Binding Shard. I'm not sure how he did that, but I'm guessing he just spawned the item in his bags, and it looks like the bags appear to be bugged. I don't know, it looks like it has 20 slots, but then at the bottom there it clips as well. So I'm guessing that's probably some kind of graphical glitch, because I saw it a couple of other times in these screenshots. I don't know what the deal with that is. But the second thing is the Talisman of Binding Shard. He put that in his inventory. I guess it's in the game files. Will it drop in Molten Core? I have no idea. It would be nice if Blizzard let it drop once like they did back in the day, but who knows? Who knows if they'll let it happen? Next up, we have this screenshot here, which highlights the Shadowcraft Boots tooltip. I'm guessing what this means, or what this person is trying to show us, is that the Shadowcraft boots are the boots that were changed. I think it was like in patch 1.6. I can't even remember. But these are the post-progressive itemization changed boots. And I think for a lot of people, that might be a little problematic. I don't want to say that Classic WoW is not going to have progressive itemization, because there's a huge chance they could just not be done yet with like changing all of the items around. I mean, Blizzard did tell us there's still a long way to go, right? So they could not be changed yet. But as of now, on the demo, according to these screenshots, these items do appear to be in their changed state. And it's definitely worrisome if it stays that way, but again, it's very early on. According to Blizzard, they're still very early on in their development, and all of this could be subject to change. But Blizzard, please, progressive itemization, very, very important. Please don't forget that as you're working on the game. Here's an interesting one. These are all of the emotes that were available back in vanilla. I'm not a huge emote guy. A lot of these I didn't even know existed, but it looks like they are the same. I haven't cross-referenced it myself, but none of these jump at me as being like incredibly new or just something from modern game. I think these are the same emotes from back in the day. And so if you're very much into emotes and RP and stuff like that, hopefully this satisfies you. It does appear to be the original vanilla emotes in RP. Okay, so here's another one, and this one took me a long time to kind of figure out. First and foremost, I thought it was pretty funny how the damage said 1337, like lead. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know how this guy did that. Maybe it's just part of the client. I have no idea. But I didn't really understand what he was trying to show us until I noticed the honor tab was grayed out. The honor tab was grayed out. What does that mean? That means as of now, on the Classic WoW demo, there is no honor system. Does that mean there will not be an honor system at Classic WoW launch? I don't know, but as of now, it certainly seems that way. I know a lot of high-end players want the honor system to be there at launch so they can grind out their ranks early. But me personally, I've always thought it would be really exciting to have the honor system come in at a later patch as it was back in vanilla, because I think that's a very exciting event. I mean, it's just something to bring people back to the game in case they get bored for the first couple of months or something like that. It's a big hype event people can get really excited about, to finally get honor and to be able to rank and stuff. So I would be really excited if the honor system wasn't there at launch. And this picture seems to be alluding to that. Now, here's something I think a lot of you guys have been very, very anxious and excited to see, and that is the graphical changes and the graphical options in Classic WoW. It looks like you are, in fact, able to toggle up your graphics to a pretty high setting. Definitely higher than you could back in the original vanilla World of Warcraft, and I think that is most evidenced in this picture by the water. Obviously, the water is the post Wrath of the Lich King water texture. It's obviously different than it was pre-Cataclysm. And also the shadows. I'm not sure if you guys can notice this, but if you look at this character, you can see the shadow is not the typical vanilla circular shadow that lies beneath the character. It actually looks like a full figure shadow. And obviously the shadow of the tree that seems to be looming above him is very different than it was in vanilla. In vanilla, the shadows were incredibly blocky. And we're going to see the side-by-side or the vanilla version of this screenshot right now. It looks like the way he's doing this is he's toggling down the graphics to something called classic mode. And if you look at the screenshot right here, you can see on the bottom left, there's something called classic. It seems to turn down the effects to a certain level, and then you get something like this, which is the old water. As you can see, the old shadows underneath his feet, he's got that circular shadow, the original vanilla shadow. And obviously the shadows of the tree are a lot blockier and a lot less visible. So it does look like there is a classic setting for graphics that looks far more like it did back in vanilla than it does today. I'm a no changes guy. I would have preferred this not to be in the game, obviously, just to keep to the true soul and spirit of vanilla. But from what I understood from a lot of people that I talked to, apparently this was actually easier to do. It did not cost any extra development time because all of this stuff was already in the game. In fact, it cost more development time to port the graphics down than it did to keep the modern settings there. So as far as I'm concerned, it's optional, it's toggleable. You don't have to see it if you don't want to. And while it would have been ideal to kind of have the game as it was, this isn't like game breaking for me at all. I think it's just a reality of using the 7.3.5 client. Here's something very interesting. It looks like the controls tab in the interface options has the auto loot icon in it. Now, obviously back in vanilla, you had auto loot, but you didn't have an option for it. Basically, all you had to do was shift click corpse and you would auto loot automatically. But in Retail WoW, you can check this auto loot box and you just right click on an enemy after you've killed them and it auto loots for you. So it saves you the fatigue of pressing shift whenever you loot. Again, I would have preferred it not to be in the game. I don't see why it's in the game. I wish they could have blocked it, although some people think I'm a little bit crazy for saying something like that. But you know, it would have been ideal not to be in the game. Now moving on to the display, as you can see here, we have the old show helm and show cloak options that were removed for BFA. In Battle for Azeroth, you cannot toggle these options. You have to transmog your helmet and cloak off in order to hide them. But of course, back in vanilla, and I think all the way through Warlords of Draenor, I want to say, you were able to toggle these options from your display. So these are back. There's obviously been some interface changes here. They didn't just take the Legion 7.3.5 interface and put it here. They've obviously done some work. They've obviously removed some options, added some options. So it's very nice to see them doing that. And I expect that as they move forward, they will continue doing that. They will continue altering this interface options pane to hopefully be more vanilla-esque. Will they add the old school parchment that was available in the interface options back in vanilla? I don't know. I think that would be a really cool nod if they did, like a little skin here. But if it takes resources and development time, I mean, we just want this thing out as soon as possible. I'll live with interface options looking like this, and I think most people will too. Moving on, we have the infamous Colorblind mode. Yes, Colorblind mode did make it to the game. I know a lot of people were screaming and raving about Colorblind mode. It turned into a big meme. But yes, Colorblind mode is in Classic WoW. I think that's a change that upsets nobody. Obviously, if people have, you know, an innate disability or have difficulty seeing something, if Blizzard can do something to accommodate that, I think that's great. And I think these are the icons that they actually mentioned that they changed back to the original vanilla icons. Remember how they talked about in the post the other day that they were messing around with some icons in the interface? I think these are the icons they were talking about. So it's pretty cool to see that. Again, you can tell they are trying to make this as close to vanilla as possible. And I think the final touch would be that parchment skin, but we'll see if they do that or not. Okay, now this is super interesting because based on what I see here, it directly contradicts something that Blizzard said, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, and that was the whole thing about wall jumping. Based on the screenshots that I see here, it looks like this person is wall jumping. And I think there's a later screenshot actually that shows them falling through the walls in Stormwind. That is crazy. That is totally unexpected. I think as of the last Blizzard post about Classic WoW, we all assumed wall jumping was dead. But it appears to be alive and well, my friends. It appears to be alive and well. It might be something insignificant to a lot of people. It doesn't affect gameplay, yada, yada, yada. But I think this is going to be a big nostalgia hitter for a lot of people. I thought it was pretty cool. I geeked out over it. So hope you guys like that. All right, moving on to something that is incredibly interesting and is a huge, huge throwback and is also very, very surprising. Take a look at that mount tooltip, guys. The Icy Blue Mechanostrider Mod A requires Mechanostrider Piloting 1. Now, what that means, guys, if I'm not mistaken, what that means is Blizzard is actually going to go with the original vanilla mounting system, the pre-patch 112 mounting system, which required you to spend a lot of money on the actual mount versus spending a lot of money on the riding skill. Originally in vanilla WoW, you would pay a lot of money for the mount itself, but only a little bit of gold for the riding skill. And then in patch 112, they reversed it. You would pay a lot of money for the riding skill and a very limited amount of money for the for the mount. So that made it easier to collect multiple mounts. But overall, it wasn't that significant of a change in the grand scheme of things. I think the biggest change is getting the unarmored mounts. Now, these were mounts that were only available, I think, until patch 1.4. I can't remember. Very, very exclusive mounts that required you to get to level 60 within just a couple of months and farm the gold very, very quickly in order to get them. But they became unavailable in the game after patch 1.4. And based on what the screenshot is telling me here, I see that the mounts are in fact the old mounts. And that's also verified by this Death Charger's Reigns item that you see here in this next picture. This is the original blue Death Charger's Reigns. And it doesn't require a riding skill, which is awesome. Because again, that verifies that they are using the old mount system. I think that's absolutely insane. I did not expect that at all. And it's very, very reassuring. But at the same time, it kind of contradicts the lack of progressive itemization. If they're doing progressive mount skill, why aren't they doing progressive itemization? And that's what makes me kind of feel like the progressive itemization stuff just isn't done yet. Maybe they just haven't hit all the items yet. Maybe it's just a work in process right now. But clearly, Blizzard has downported the mount system to be patch 1.1 onwards. I hope and I expect them to do the same with items. So not all hope is lost just yet in that regard. But yeah, guys, unarmored mounts, the original vanilla mounting system, very, very exciting. A little bit more hardcore than the patch 112 mount system. So that's pretty damn cool. All right, now here's the customer support interface that we were told so much about. This is what Blizzard wanted to keep in the game with the Battle.net integration. It was very important to them. And as you guys can see, this is pretty much what you see in retail WoW. I'm not sure if you see a cash shop item in retail. A cash shop icon in retail WoW here too. But here, obviously, you don't. And once again, I said this at the start of the video, but there are no indications of a cash shop whatsoever in Classic WoW, which is phenomenal. I mean, if they really go through with this without a cash shop, which I think we all hope they do, that would just be amazing. I mean, it would just be incredible. And Blizzard, I hope you do so. You're on the right track, clearly. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. It's very, very exciting. And here's High Warlords Battle Axe, which is a rank 14 PvP item. And as you can see here, this is the patch 112 High Warlords Battle Axe, the post-change High Warlords Battle Axe that has better stats than the original rank 14 weapons. And once again, guys, this does indicate that there is not any progressive itemization currently deployed on the Classic WoW client. And I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit worried about that. I'm a little bit worried, but again, because I saw them do the progressive mount system, I mean, you've got to believe they're going to do progressive itemization. Like, you've got to believe that if they're doing that with mounts. Oh, when I saw this, dude, this is one of the ones that's like, okay, are these screenshots real? Are these screenshots real? But it does appear to be the case. The Nicker does appear to be an actual item in Classic WoW. It is not the Blackrock Slicer, it is the Nicker as it originally was. I don't know why they changed it, honestly. I mean, I don't know. It's not that bad. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it's just some fun, and it's a good memory, and you know, it's cool to see it in the game. All right, now this is another one that took me a little bit to kind of understand what was going on here, until I noticed the helmet. And if I were to take a guess, what this person is trying to tell us here is that they are using the updated tier models. That is my guess. Unless this is supposed to be an interface shot because he has the bag open and the talent open. I'm not exactly sure what they want us to see. But if I were to take a guess, I think they want us to notice that the helmets, the tier, are the updated tier models. As you guys know, back in vanilla, when it originally launched, the tier models had placeholders, and they looked very different than they do today. But it looks like they will not be using the placeholders. And again, I think that's totally fine. It was a change that happened during vanilla, and I don't even think it was a change. It was basically a case of we ran out of time to complete the models. We had to put them in later. I think that's perfectly fine. This is Thorium Point in the Searing Gorge. And what's particularly interesting about this screenshot is that there is a griffin roost in Thorium Point. Now, if you guys didn't know, when Thorium Point, or when vanilla originally launched, Thorium Point was not this big quest hub as it is today. The Thorium Point rep was not available, I think, or it couldn't be farmed as well. And there was no flight point at Thorium Point, as well as a couple of other vanilla zones. As we can see here, based on the Griffin Roost, there is clearly a flight point in this area, which probably corresponds to Thorium Point being in the game at launch. I think some people might be upset with this because it's an additional quest hub, and the theory is it makes questing, quote, easier. I don't necessarily think so. I'm sorry, leveling easier. And I don't necessarily think so, guys. I've always had a lot of success grinding while leveling, and yeah, I do like the Thorium Point content. I don't think it makes the game any easier at all. The reputation might be a little bit of a problem, but ultimately, I love the Thorium Point quests, man. Going into the Cauldron, doing all that stuff. It's really, really fun, and I don't think this is game-breaking at all. And finally, something very, very interesting that I think will put a lot of your minds at ease, guys. And that is the absence of the Naxxramas necropolis and the Eastern Plaguelands. Now, what does that mean, guys? It means that Blizzard intentionally removed the necropolis from Eastern Plaguelands. And what do I mean by intentionally? Well, if they were using a standard patch 112 base, as they suggested in their original dev water cooler post, the necropolis would have been there by default. So if the necropolis is there by default, they would have actively had to remove it in this client, and that is exactly what they did, which strongly suggests that we will have progressive content. Classic WoW will not launch with Naxxramas, according to the screenshot. Very, very interesting, very exciting. I think that's what a lot of us expected and certainly hoped for, but obviously we never received official confirmation from Blizzard. But seeing it here in this screenshot makes me feel much more at ease. As it appears now on the Classic WoW build, on the Classic WoW client, there is no Naxxramas, which means not all of the raids will be available at launch, which means most likely we will have progressive raid content hopefully released on a similar time schedule as they were back in vanilla. But yeah, I figured I would end on that screenshot because I know it's one that's going to get you guys really, really excited and hopefully squash one of your deeply rooted fears about Classic WoW. These screenshots indicate a lot of good things, guys. They indicate a lot of really good things to me. Personally, the progressive itemization thing, I hope it's being worked on by Blizzard. If it's not, I urge Blizzard to check it out. And for everything else, guys, that you saw here, if there's something that you really liked or something that you didn't like, please post your feedback to the Blizzard forums, man. I mean, they've indicated that they're listening. We're getting there. We're getting really, really close to Classic WoW launch. So now is the time to make your voices heard. It's been absolutely crazy to see this finally become a reality and to see this in actual screenshot form. Man, it's something else, guys. And in 9 days, it's going to get even crazier at BlizzCon. I'm super excited, guys, and I hope you guys are too. I hope you really like these screenshots, man. Like, man, overall, I think Blizzard's doing a great job. Now, at the same time, they can still screw it up. Progressive itemization, Blizzard. It's a big deal. But hopefully they're on the right track, and I do think they're still working on this stuff. But I want to hear what you guys think. Do you like the screenshots? Is there something you didn't like, something you really liked? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm going to go take a nap right now, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked what you saw, sub it up and stick around because we got more coming. A big shout out to all my friends on Patreon who make videos like this possible. Very much appreciate it, guys. I work my tail off for you guys. Thank you so much for the support. And if you that's watching the video right now would like to support the channel as well, I've left a link in the description for you. And for more Classic WoW content, news, and updates, you can catch me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/tipsoutbaby. But aside from that, have a wonderful day, fellas. See you guys on Twitch. And as always, tips out, baby.